Hello everybody, my name is Jesper Anker and you're watching another edition of the Weekly Rant. Today I'm joined by Bobson and Julian. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hi.
There we go, the obligatory hi. So guys, if you've been following the sport of cycling, then you must know that we have a showdown on our hands. We have Chris Froome versus Alberto Contador in Vuelta a Andalusia, and it could have even been Chris Froome versus Contador versus Nairo Quintana if Nairo Quintana didn't pull out with an injury. But so far the racing has been quite epic. Let's go through that race first. The first three stages was won by Pim Ligtart, Javier Moreno, and Juan Jose Lobato. And those three names are not names you normally see winning. Pim Ligtart attacked when there was a crash in stage 1A and managed to win by like 10 seconds down to the pack. Quite surprisingly, but I saw some guys on Twitter having bets on him at like 150 to 1, so congrats to them. Javier Moreno winning the time trial was also a big upset because when has Javier Moreno ever won anything? And he managed to beat some pretty big names in the time trial, like
Yeah.
Wilco Kelderman, Bob Jungels, Alberto Contador up there in 4th place. That's a big surprise.
Solon Chavanel was way far down. Chris Froome.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Alberto Contador beating Froome in an 8-kilometer time trial?
It wasn't. I don't think it was that surprising because the time trial was much earlier, and also it was a shorter one. It wasn't your normal 40k time trial. It was only about
Yeah,
8 kilometers, so it doesn't say too much. Obviously, Contador seems like he's in better form right now, but who knows?
So you won't say that because Contador won this time trial, he's now a better time trial than Froome.
Yeah,
I
he
disagree.
totally is.
Is that
Obviously,
sarcasm or is that...
those 8 seconds pretty much confirm it.
Okay, so when we come to the Tour de France, it's all over. As long as Contador can follow Froome, he wins it in the time trial, guys.
Yep.
But Javier Moreno winning that one, that was a surprise to many people. Stage 2, though, won by Juan Jose Lobato. And if you can, I recommend you to find the footage of Lobato winning the stage, because his acceleration was crazy. You think Degenkolb is fast? Watch this guy accelerate, because Degenkolb was battling Gregor Ball and Arthur Richaud for like 200 meters, and out of nowhere, Lobato just shoots away. It reminded me of the second stage of Tour Down Under, was it that, where he won in front of Impey?
It was one of them where he just went ham. He just does that sometimes. He's a really big talent.
Yeah. Due to this performance, I actually put money on him to win Milan San Remo. I believe he was 5th last year, and if he was 5th last year and he got beaten by Christoph Cancellara and all these other guys, I believe he's got the kick this year to beat them.
Yeah.
On to the two important stages, stage 3 and stage 4, and I'm sure you guys have watched them because there's been a lot of talk about these stages. Bob, why don't you run us through stage 3, which Contador won in front of Froome?
Well, for a while, this looked like it was going to be the breakaway winning. They had a big break. Eventually, it was Geschke basically
stage 4,
towing.
I believe. That was stage
Oh,
4.
crap. That's the opposite.
Yeah. Well, you can talk about that one. Talk about stage 4 first, I guess, if you want to talk about that one. I've got that one ready too. So stage 4.
Well, we should talk about stage 3. I don't really remember what happened much on stage 3. I
Okay,
only watched the cycling hub and
Okay. Do you want?
Stage 3 was the one Contador won, and it was a very technical descent. We saw like the really curvy roads, and Contador with his main man Ivan Basso kind of pulled away on the descent, and then when the climb started, it was really steep, like straight away, and Contador was in really good position and took advantage of this, pulled the gap. What was that?
Ivan Basso's like the worst descender in the peloton. How?
I don't
Dude.
know. I even
did you
said to Julian that there's no way Ivan Basso's gonna do anything. There was a bet of Ivan Basso versus Mikel Nieve, and I actually got scared because I put money on Nieve, and Ivan Basso did so great to help Contador that I got kind of reminded of his old days at, was it Liquigas? We actually did fine, and even before that it was Team CSC.
I was all I remember is Euro 2012. They're at the top. It was that stage that finished on a descent, but it was like really big mountain stage, and there were 6 guys left at the end, and Uran dropped, and then Scarponi dropped, and Pozzovivo dropped, and Basso was like right up there with Hejidal and Rodriguez, and then on the descent he just got dropped.
Yeah, that's Ivan Basso for you. Very big disappointment, but go on, Julian, go on.
Yeah, so it was a very steep start to the climb, and obviously Contador was in bad position, got in a really good attack by himself, and it was like the Vuelta all over again. We saw Froome behind. He was behind the peloton, and He just rode his way back up and was bridging across the console, or he was just tempo riding across the console, and he did make up some time, but Contador did have around 35 seconds on Froome, and Froome narrowed it down to 19 seconds, I believe, at the end. So Froome, it was interesting because we've seen this a lot in the past where Froome just slowly rides back up and he's dropping all the guys on his wheel so no one could follow his tempo. And we're going to see this more. I hope we're going to see more of this in the year, in the Tour de France, hopefully, and hopefully no crashes.
Yeah,
it's going to be very entertaining, yeah.
But yeah, now we're comparing things. This attack by Alberto Contador reminded me of Carlos Sastre on Alpe d'Huez back on Team CSC, because he attacked at the very beginning of Alpe d'Huez, and he just rode his own tempo all the way up to take the yellow jersey and win that year's Tour de France. And Contador did the exact same thing here. Actually, funny mentioning Froome doing the same thing as he did in the Vuelta a España, because he said to some sort of news outlet, I don't remember which one it was, that if he had followed Contador, he would have exploded and he would have lost minutes. Here he just lost like 17 seconds on Contador, which was manageable, because in stage 4, the next one, which Bob was so good at reminding us of, he actually managed to take that time back. Why don't you run us through this stage, Bob?
So after Geschke basically towed Selvaggi for, well, the majority of the final half of the stage, there was an attack by Selvaggi immediately, and for a while there it looked like he was going to win, but eventually he was reeled in when the acceleration started to come. Nieve put in the first move, and Froome just went off that. Eventually, Contador followed, but he couldn't follow. And from there on, Froome just kept going. He kind of pried open the gap. He never really got total distance, but he pried open the gap quite a lot, and he took the jersey just by 1 second in the end over Contador. Contador never really cracked, but maybe he just doesn't really work on that Froome strategy. He needs to follow accelerations and make his own. He can't really do his steady pace to the best efficiency, so he looked horrible right at the end, but it's just the way it had to be for him, I think. And I think he did his best at limiting the losses. He just wasn't really good on the day.
Fun fact, actually, did you know that in stage 3, the one Contador won, he did not have a power meter, like it was not working for him? And normally these climbers, like Froome and Contador, they ride after their stats, or their numbers. They know how hard they can go and how long they can go that hard. So therefore, they just keep on looking at the power meter and they say, oh, I'm on track, I'm just going to keep this pace and I'm going to survive. They train a lot about this in the off-season, and they know about this, but his power meter didn't work. So he just rode his own pace and it worked. In stage 4, he actually had a working power meter and he lost more time, so...
Well, you know, power meters are kind of like Froome's thing. Like I bet he like collects them. Like he has all the top of the line power meters. He probably has like a secret YouTube channel where he reviews them and stuff. Who knows? But I think it's pretty obvious that him and his power meters, either he just he collects them, or maybe he has some kind of weird romantic attraction to power meters. I'm not really sure. But there's definitely something going on. You can see him looking down right there. He just can't help but catch a glimpse of it. You know.
Hey, so following previous logic in this rant, we said that Contador is now a better time trial than Froome because he beat him by 8 seconds. Does this make Froome a better climber than Contador because he beat him by 1 second in the GC Chew? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? This race is like just a preview of what's to come this season. We're gonna really see who's the best climber this year. And I want to say also about power meters. So Nicky Terpstra posted a picture of his power meter and his stats for, I think it was Oman or whatever race he was in. And someone commented below, "Oh, why do you have the old version of this Garmin cycling computer?" He's like, "Well, it's the lightest computer out there." So it seems like they take this so seriously. That couple grams. It's literally couple grams. Couple grams less.
Is it this one? You can see it. You can see it on Skype. I shared it.
Yeah, and on Facebook, someone commented on it and said,
"Ooh,
yeah,
ooh, Omega's using Garmin stuff. What's the deal here?
Is this a Garmin comeback? Are they gonna take over?
Is Garmin taking over Omega? Or are they gonna merge?"
Oh, it's gonna be
Who
Ethics,
knows?
Garmin, Cannondale, Quickstep, huh?
Everyone uses Garmin these days.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
the
the
best.
best
Yeah.
out there. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with the on-bike cameras. Everybody uses Shimano's action camera, I believe it is, because it's the best out there. It's the
Hey,
lightest one.
scope. So,
It's
is it?
actually funny talking about that because Callum Ewan was really mad that Dan Jones put that camera on his bike. He's like, if I lose, it's due to this damn camera. He said that every single day. And then after he won 3 days in a row, Dan Jones goes, hey, do you know what's making you win every day? The Shimano camera. And he's like, forget it.
I don't get why everything needs to be really light, okay? Because it's all about momentum, and if you could get your bike up to speed, your momentum should be better on a
Go.
flat road.
No. That's not how it works.
Newton's second law right there. It's physics. F equals
Yeah.
ma. Mass times acceleration.
Okay,
The more you
okay,
weigh, the
uh,
faster you go.
attach some backpacks to yourself and with dumbbells on it, and see
I'm
how
not
you ride.
sure that
It's-
a bike camera works the same as dumbbells plus a backpack.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
not
talking
exactly.
about the heavier you are, the quicker you go.
Well,
so
how fast would you go
emphasize that.
downhill?
There's a reason Contador doesn't go fast on flat roads. He's like a little tin man. He weighs like what, 60 kilos? Compared to a guy like Tony Martin, he's so
No.
that is something like you have different builds of a character. Like climbers
Yeah.
are small and thin, as the big timber machines like Cancellara and Tony Martin and Wiggins, they're a bit bigger now. It's just Newton's second law. Check that up, guys. Don't trust me though, guys. I almost failed my physics exam here the other week, so
No, it's okay. I didn't do too well on physics either.
I know, don't trust me, guys.
Well,
Let's move away from school subjects, because Tour of Oman is also going on. I'm not sure you guys know about this, because there's no live TV coverage. We've seen live TV coverage of Tour of Dubai on Eurosport. We've seen beIN Sports cover Tour of Qatar. And now Tour of Oman, which with a bigger field and even more exciting racing, no coverage. What the heck? Well, Julian, why don't you run us through the Tour of Oman, the very disappointing TV coverage Tour of Oman.
Tourman had some big name riders. It wasn't just no name. So they had Valverde, Vincenzo Nibali. So they did have big riders, and Sagan was in there. It's apparently been a very, very close couple of sprints, and the big surprise so far is Rafael Vels leading in the GC. So we're going to see how. Looks like he's going to win it from here, but there's the stage 5, which was going to be decisive, and that got cancelled. So
No, he actually
it's-
won it. The race is over. The race
yeah,
finished.
he won. So
It's crazy.
yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of stage 5 that got finished, 2 weeks ago we discussed Étoile de Bessé, and we said that due to previous precedents, that of course they should keep on riding, because that's just how the way works. And they actually finished the race. Étoile de Bessé got ridden out and Roy Jans won in the end, but it was horrible weather conditions. It was windy, it was rainy, it was really cold, and everybody was freezing their you-know-what's off. But in Oman, it was quite the opposite. It was still windy, but it was really, really hot. In the neutralization zone, they had to go over a climb and then go down it. I believe it was like 13 times a movie star rider had punctures. Like their tires literally exploded on the descent. And that forced the Tour of Oman, the governing body, to call the race off underneath a bridge and talk about it. One of those guys were Eddie Merckx, who had to discuss, do we keep on riding or do we not keep on riding? Bob, 2 weeks ago we discussed this. What do you think? What's the difference between Étoile de Bessé and Tour of Oman? Why did Tour of Oman get cancelled and not Étoile de Bessé?
I think Tour of Oman got canceled because these are conditions that the riders don't usually ride in. You can tell a rider you have no excuse for rain, wind, cold. These are things that when you race in Europe, especially early season, you're going to experience. Maybe not to those effects, but to some extent. I don't think that things like sandstorms are things that the riders are exactly used to or equipped to ride for.
It's true. I also think that the different pelotons make a difference, don't you think,
True.
Julian? Because in Tour of Oman, you had guys like Cancellara, Nibali, Koenig, Pinot, Rodriguez, Valverde. This is Tour de France quality riders, and they don't want to be risking their lives. While in the Tour de Bessé, you've got Roy Jans, Brian Coqueur. Who really cares? But actually, speaking of this, I really think that this interview with Eddie Merckx after the stage makes a lot of sense. I'll just let you guys read it in the Skype, and you guys out there can follow as well. He says, this incident could jeopardize the future of Tour of Oman. I hope it doesn't, and I don't have a problem with that. Afterwards, let's see, it goes on to say that But if that happens, the riders have to search for another race to prepare themselves for the reason, for the season. They threatened to completely quit Tour of Oman if they did not ride the race. That's what organizers said, and it's very childish of them, of course. But I understand the reasoning behind it. He also goes on to saying, "I'm disappointed. If it rains in Paris-Roubaix on the Carrefour d'Abre, it's also dangerous. If it rains in the Ardennes, I believe, no, it's Alpe d'Huez." Pyrenees is what he said. In the mountains, in the Pyrenees, it's also dangerous. Everything is dangerous. This sport is dangerous. We have to change the sport. And do you guys follow his reasoning? Do we really need to just say, hey, everything is dangerous, just ride through it and you'll maybe survive?
No.
Yes.
Because then nothing gets fixed up because there's
You know what?
sometimes.
No, what?
What?
If you're a professional cyclist and you die, shit happens.
Say that to Van Veland. I don't think he felt that
Well,
way.
he took the risk.
Of
I'm
driving
sure-
down a downhill and hitting a rock.
Yes.
Risk.
There's risk in being a cyclist, okay? That's the risk. Also, you know, if you look at it, just look at the road that they were on, that descent. I mean, yeah, you fall. Then what happens? Like, it wasn't that steep. It was, you fall and you go, ooh, I took a tumble. I have a road rash. Oops. Like, ah, boo-hoo. You're not gonna die.
Have
get
you
over
ever ridden your bike before and crashed?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Did
those
you
roads-
say boo-hoo and road rash? Or did you say out
Well-
of the head?
Well, I couldn't really speak because I broke my tooth.
Oh.
But,
So yeah, boo-hoo for you, huh?
So you learned the hard way.
It was boo-hoo, but guess what? I didn't go complain to the road makers that they made a road that was too bad.
Sue the state for
I
bad
went to my
road
dentist and got it
conditions.
fixed.
Yeah,
Because that's all you can do. You can't blame
Maybe
the
it was
other
your bad
people.
handling on the bike.
It was my bad handling because I was trying to get out of the saddle on a downhill. Whose fault is that? Mine. I understand that.
Well, I think this image says a lot. You see Cancellara definitely angry in this picture, and you see Tom Bone with a smirky face on him. Like you see this little
Well,
tongue out there.
Cancellara, I'm pretty sure Cancellara dyed his hair.
He did?
If you look at the end of his hair.
Oh no, I think that's just sand.
No, but
That's-
in the other pictures it's the same. He looks like he dyed the end of his hair blonde or something.
I guess.
I don't know what that is. New style. I
Fun
mean,
fact that also
like
in this race,
35
Alexander
years old.
Kristoff said that he got hit by a rat. Like a rat fell out of a tree and hit him in the face. That's how much wind there was that day. That's
oh,
not,
that's funny.
that's not
They have
safe
rats.
conditions.
That just
Yeah.
shows how good they are.
well.
Oh, there's rats everywhere.
Well, after these two races, after Tour de Basset and Tour of Oman, UCI has determined that they need to be working on extreme weather protocol. Like, how bad does the weather need to be before we call off a race? And who has the power to call off a race? Does that need to be a UCI official, or does that need to be the
It
race
just needs to be-
organizer?
It just needs to be like God telling them.
So if God kills somebody, it means the race is over,
If
guys.
somebody dies, that's when you gotta cancel the race.
Wow, I don't think
'Cause
everyone
it's a
believes
sign.
in God, so I don't think that's a good governing body.
Fine. If anybody gets paralyzed.
I don't follow your logic. Like,
Okay, so if they don't need to die. If they're paralyzed, that's enough to cancel the race.
see, you have a very extreme way of looking at things. That's for sure. I think we should move on before we dig ourselves too deep in this religion topic. Moving on, though, a race that none of us have heard of before. Well, we heard of before, but we haven't really watched it. We haven't been able to follow it. The Volta a Algarve with some big names as well. You got Tony Martin here. You got Richie Porte. You got Geraint Thomas. All guys who've done well. You got Johnny Meersman as well. These guys have all won a stage cheese, and Geraint Thomas looks like he's going to take the overall in Volta a Algarve. But hey, we wouldn't know. We don't see live pictures of this, so very difficult to follow cycling if you don't see pictures of the races. You do see highlights, but who really wants to watch those?
True.
So, moving away from the topics, because there's no more race topics to discuss. I think we've reached them all pretty much.
Mhm.
Earlier in the Weekly Rant series, we discussed another team getting their bike stolen. I don't remember which team it was, but they got their bike stolen. They had to pull out of the race, and the exact same thing happened to the Danish team called Energy. They got their bike stolen overnight. All their equipment got stolen, and they got forced to pull out of Tour de Hadvar. Julian, do you think we need more security? And I know I asked you about this as well last time.
Sure, of course we need more security, but who has the funding for that? And you know, you can add whatever more things you want to do. It's people are still going to find a way to steal bikes at the end of the day. I've seen that in the past with teams deliberately parking their trucks like with the doors near something so they just can't fit the bikes open. Robbers try. But it's kind of a sad story because it's money. These bikes aren't cheap, and each bike is probably like I'm guessing 7, 8, $10,000. Yeah, cases. So for a team low budget like that, that really does hurt.
What can you do about it though? Like, there's really
I don't
nothing
think
you
you
can
can do
do.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Have security cameras in every single bikes, but then the bike's still gone.
It's simply not possible.
Well, you could like reinforce it, the entire truck with like titanium.
But is that really worth it though? That's quite expensive. That's just as expensive as having your bikes.
Why would you do that? You just got steel in the back of it. They're gonna cut open the locks or something.
I have an idea. Okay, so they, but the UCI pays for all of this, and they just take it out of Brian Cookson's paycheck.
Speaking of Brian Cookson, he actually stopped the World Championship track training just for his own little charity event that happened earlier this week. There's footage of that on the Cycling Hub. There is some Australian guy named Beasley, I don't remember his first name. He recorded it from his phone. He said, "So you're currently watching Brian Cookson driving around the velodrome for his own personal gain, while us, the Australian cycling team, was forced off the track. That is your UCI president, ladies and gentlemen." Kind of funny, speaking of Brian Cookson. He's kind of dick. Then he also tweeted out, "I would never do such thing," but there's obviously footage of it, so
well, he just wants everyone to think he's such a great person because he's not Pat McCade.
Yeah.
Not being Pat McCade does inherently make you not the worst person in the world, but that doesn't make you good.
No, true. But back to the topic of stealing bikes, there's nothing you can do about it. I just think is how difficult is it to sell a pro bike? Like, who's really on the market for a professional bike? Like,
yeah, who's gonna pay that much besides?
People will. No,
why? I don't like.
Who has the money
that
for
big
that?
of a black market in for this?
No, bike sales are huge, and the parts as well. These parts you can sell each wheel is probably couple $1,000s. There's wheel sets that go up to like a couple $1,000s. The whole group set with all the chain ring and everything. The ones they use probably go for a couple thousand as well, 1,000 or something like that. So there is a lot of money in there, and people will buy it.
How do you know, Julian?
Well, he got the Hazeldoll bike.
Oh yeah, go watch that on his channel.
And Chris Froome's Pinarello too.
Yeah, that's a different thing. Let's move on to the final topic though. Back in 2014, not me, but Bob and Julian in the weekly rant. That was the week I was sick. They actually managed to somewhat predict Contador retiring at the end of 2016 with the help of Cycling News article. But as you guessed it, Alberto Contador has announced his retirement after the 2016 season. How do you guys feel about this? You can start, Julian.
Oh yeah, as we said, like it's going to be interesting. What's his form going to be like next year? Because it's like if he's winning the Tour de France, can you really see him stepping away just off a Tour de France win? Because it's really hard to see riders retiring when they're really on top. That's a really hard thing to do if you're an athlete. You retire when you're at the top of the level at the sport. So that's really interesting. Contador he's really young. He's only 30, low 30s, 31 or 2. I think. So he's still in prime age and for cycling. So it's a bit of a shock, but he has pretty much achieved everything there is. He's won all 3 Grand Tours. You know, what more is there for him to do? I mean, if he keeps riding, it might not be for the benefit of himself because there might be those little doping cases that come back to him, and you know.
Speaking of doping cases, there's a big doping report on the way from UCI, so he might want to retire before that comes out. So just saying. But Bob, how do you like this move in general for Team Tinkoff? Because what state does that leave Tinkoff in?
I mean, they still have Sagan, so they're not in any jeopardy, in my opinion. But they're gonna need another climber. They lost Roach
do they really need another climber?
last year.
They kind of do. They got Micah.
Yeah.
They got Micah. They got a ton of.
They have Micah. They have Micah, but Kreuziger might be busted too. Still, because now that they banned the national federations. Who knows?
They will have a climber with like Tinkoff. Whether you like or not, he's gonna get a climber to Tinkoff.
I bet he'll get Froome. It'll be like when the Schlecks left.
Oh, you think?
I think that he'll get through.
That's so weird though, because like think of Saxo Bank and also Bjarne Reese likes to buy their competitors. Because when the Slacks left, they bought Contador. Now that Contador leaves, he's gonna buy Froome, and then when Froome leaves, who's the next guy? Quintana.
Yeah.
When Quintana leaves, who's the next guy? Who says Tinkoff will even be around then? But yeah, honestly, I think it leaves Tinkoff in a better state than it was with Contador, because it's gonna tie up a lot of money on Tinkoff, meaning they can go out and buy somebody else. And who says who says they need to go for a climber? Like, in all honesty, they should not go for one. Look at Ethics Quickstep; they have the perfect lineup, and they don't really have a climber. They got to run.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of team that Tinkoff is.
Oh,
They are
Tinkoff,
a climbing team.
Tinkoff's
That's
built
what they
around
are.
climbing.
That's
Yeah.
a shame, though.
They've always been around that. I mean, when they had Ken Shalara as Saxo, they had that. But I mean, they've always been centered around their climbing. Look at how many climbers they had on CSC. They
A
just
lot.
that's just their style, and I think that money is never really too big of an issue for Tinkoff. So yes, this'll unload a lot, but he's always seems to have more in his back pocket anyway. So I think that this will be a hit because it's Alberto Contador, but I'm sure he'll be able to be replaced.
I guess. I kind of want them to go with an identity change. I want to change them into Ethics Quickstep, because how can you not like Ethics Quickstep? Last year, they were the team with the most amount of wins, most amount of separate wins. Like, I believe that 2/3 of their team got a stage victory at some point or another. How is that not fun to watch? How is that not fun to watch a team like that can win out of nowhere? And I somewhat hope they change, but they probably won't. And on that topic, guys, put in the comment section below, what do you think Tinkoff should do? Should they stay with their climbing mentality, or should they change to a more ethics-centered quick-step mentality where you have everybody that can win a stage here and there? Thank you guys for watching. It's been a joy talking to you guys. We'll see you guys next week with some more racing.